Hello everyone, I'm Jody. Welcome back to Russ Lover's Garage 2024. We have made it through the holiday season. I trust everybody had a great one. It is now time to get busy working on stuff. Obviously the big elephant in the room is still the new shop, and we're gradually working into that, but going to do a little project here. Many years ago, this is the original gauge cluster for the 69 F100 that I have. We cut out a hole, put an oil pressure gauge. I think I was probably in high school or college. And in a junkyard many years later, I found an XLT Ranger. I took the gauge cluster out of it, put it in the F100. None of it has ever really worked right. And now that I'm going back with gauges and things, because I really like the old school Stewart Warner stuff, that's what we're going to put in here today. So tag along with me. We're going to swap out the dash, go back to the original 69. We're going to put a gauge in this hole, and we're also going to drill another hole and put a gauge over there, and then swap it out in the truck. Appreciate you guys being along with me today. Hit like and subscribe if you see something here. Would really like to hit that 1,000 mark in 2024, and with your help, we can do that. So let's get busy. Hold on just a minute. All right, here are the gauges, Stewart Warner, genuine, that we'll be putting in an oil pressure on one side and a water temperature on the other. All right, the hole is not quite big enough, but it doesn't like much. So rather than trying to rebore the whole hole without a center, take a little die grinder and make it bigger. Oh, that's nice.
Well, that was impressive.
At some point, all of these have got to go. Okay, tell you what we're gonna have to do. I don't know that this is, that didn't work, did it? Alright, tell you what we're gonna have to do. Got to get me a little gap right there where I can get that blade to turn. Cut the phone, cut that off.
Have to push it. Oh.
Let's see where we're at on the hole. Put my flashlight in.
Oh.
Ah, you rascal. That pulled around. Ultimately, where we're going is right there. All right, we're going to step away from the truck just a little bit. And I want to draw your attention to two separate sets of directions that I got with these Stewart Warner gauges. Love Stewart Warner gauges, they're old school look, but you need to pay attention to what you're actually got in your hand versus what this thing here says. And I've got it highlighted. It says on the oil pressure side to connect the wire that's coming out to a source that's controlled by the light switch. In other words, when you pull the lights on, it'll also engage with the dash lights. Okay, couple things there. There's only one wire, so you're not going to mess it up. But also pay attention to the fact that that wire is black, which typically in wiring in a car symbolizes ground. So you're actually taking the only wire there, it's black, to a hot power source. In this case, they're asking you to do it for the switch that engages the headlights or the park lights. Okay? Very same series of gauge for the water temperature. Okay? It shows, and I'm not sure if you get an A, B, and C. We're dealing with this diagram right here. Okay? This is the C wire. All right? It tells us to take the C wire to the ground if lighting is desired for the gauge. All right. On this same drawing, there's an A wire and a B wire. Okay? You see all that? Okay. It tells us to take the A wire to the ignition and the B wire to the sending unit. Okay? The A wire goes to the sending unit, and it's actually a brown wire that I've hooked up. The B wire to the sending unit, that is also a hot wire. Or excuse me, for the, the A wire goes to the ignition. The B wire goes to the sending unit, which we've already got run. But the A wire being a red wire, also it denotes being hot. But please understand, the hot wire to make the gauge work does not and is not connected to the light. So actually, again, what you have to do is take that hot wire, or the wire coming out of the back of the light, to the hot, to a separate hot. Okay? Both of these gauges are being grounded through the fact that you're mounting them. Okay? A lot of folks lose that interpretation. If you take these instructions here for face value, you're going to wire them up wrong. It's not going to hurt anything, but the lights are not going to work because you're going to take a ground to a ground. In this case, we got to take the ground wire that they're giving us. It's got to go to the hot. Okay, so in other words, it's got to go somewhere and pick up power. So we're going to step around inside here now. I'll show you how I got all these things hooked up. All right, I hope the camera's picking this up, but what this is right here is the ground wire that's coming out of the back of the temperature gauge that I've got mounted right here. It's grounded to the dash, which is obviously grounded to the frame. Okay, this is the hot wire that I've got coming out of the switch. I did not wire this particular one up to go through the switch, because mainly this particular switch is a bare. So for right now, to get this thing going, we're gonna basically have the lights hot all the time, at least in these two gauges. But what we did, we've got a hot wire that is hot in the run position of the switch coming out. I split it, so I'm picking up the hot wire for this gauge, and I'm also picking up the hot wire for over there, and also the hot wire to operate the gauge itself. So when it starts ohming out, and the gauge will actually pick up and operate. So that's what we've got here. Also, folks, when you're doing a plug-in, and that's why I've got this plugged the way that it is for temporary, please remember, we've got to cover this up. This is hot when that switch right here is in the run position. You do not want to just slide this back up and potentially have it go in there and ground out or short out and catch your vehicle on fire. So always pay attention to what you're doing, realizing that these are not hot right now, but as we're going down the road driving this truck, these things will be hot, and we really can't control when we push everything back up in there exactly where it's all going to lay. May be fine now, a month later, you may have a fire. So always remember, insulate everything when you're dealing with electricity. And what am I going to use to do that with is just simply little strips of black electrical tape. So we'll take us off a few pieces here. Got it right where I want it. That's all you got to do there. And I guess we'll have to do that 2
2 more times. You'd think after 3 times I would have learned something.
Alrighty, there is the water temperature gauge mounted in the dash. There is the oil pressure. If you remember from earlier pictures, right there where that wire is hanging out is where we had the cluster, the three gauge trio, if you will, and those wires hanging out there is for the alternator or the voltmeter, which I haven't volt gauge. I'll get it out in a minute. I hadn't got it hooked up yet. Really trying to decide where the location is going to be. But anyway, that's what we got. Let's move underneath the hood and get the water and everything put back in the radiator. Okay, as you saw, we got oil pressure, we got water temperature, we got everything buttoned back up, no leaks, everything looks fine. All we've got to do now is put the volt gauge or the voltmeter on there. Probably going to do that on the steering column in one of the little cups. But more importantly, I appreciate so much, guys, that you're spending a little time in my shop. We picked up about 65 new subscribers, guys. Welcome aboard, and thank you folks who have been here since day one. Hit the bell, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. If you see something you like here, by all means, get that subscription. It's free. It's free. Thanks again, folks. God bless.